So we got the first Raw in the Thunderdome, and this is why we can't have good things. I mean, it's not that bad, but we've got some worse stuff that I probably shouldn't talk about on YouTube. Come on, people, let's not ruin it for everyone. And it was an okay episode. I mean, we got a father and son tag team, we got a bigger version of Retribution. That's what Brock Lesnar's Farmer Milk does to you. And we got Drew McIntyre getting kicked 3 times by Randy Orton and not selling 2 of them. Come on, dude, that is some bad writing. I love Drew McIntyre, but whoever came up with this is an absolute idiot. Back in the day, it only took 1 punt kick for a wrestler to be out for months. It took 3 punt kicks for Drew McIntyre to be taken to the hospital. If it took 2, maybe it would be okay. But dude, as much as I love Drew McIntyre, imagine if it was Roman Reigns in that situation. People would shit all over it. So it's kinda unfair in my opinion. We also got a Keith Lee debut and Retribution members possibly revealed. So we're gonna talk about that in a second.
I am not drunk.
Welcome everybody to a brand new episode of Greatness of Raw. Not a bad show. I'm not gonna use a camera for this one because I don't really have a lot of time and I honestly look like dog shit right now. Finally a big show feel for Monday Night Raw. I feel like Monday Night Raw needed it the most because it's not the best show right now when it comes to wrestling. And when you hold that show in a garage, it's even worse, in my honest opinion. I feel like the atmosphere really helped. The writing could be better. I mean, if we remove Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Mysterio, and Seth Rollins, this show is absolute garbage. I feel like these 2 rivalries are still, kinda making the show watchable, I would say. Everything else is very mediocre. The show kicked off with the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, who recently retained the WWE Championship against Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and you can see the guy appreciating the Thunderdome. Again, a phenomenal entrance. It felt like he's really into it and finally getting that moment. It's not the same, it's not an actual crowd, but it's something. You can see a bunch of happy faces and stuff. So he's talking about Randy Orton. He says, well, Randy Orton, you're one of the best WWE wrestlers of all time. You won that greatest wrestling match ever, and I beat you with a wrestling move. What does that make me? You get the point. And Drew McIntyre, the champion, actually challenges Randy Orton to a rematch. I mean, he did it because he wants to prove a point. He wants to beat Randy Orton with a finisher. But then we got Randy Orton attacking Drew McIntyre from behind. They fight in the gorilla position. We got a punt kick. And then we got a second one. So this is the problem that I have. We got 1 punt kick and Drew McIntyre came back, maybe it's okay. Now we got 2 of them and he was still fine. I don't know about you guys, for me the punt kick is a career threatening move. And in this case it felt like your normal finisher. I wouldn't expect Drew McIntyre to get up after 2 or KOs actually, so, it's pretty bad. Nia Jax is back, finally, I'm so happy, and she wants to tag with Shayna Baszler. She offers to help her in a match against Bayley, so we got Shayna versus Bayley. It was an okay match, actually pretty big, but we got Nia Jax interfering and attacking Shayna Baszler. But then they focused on Sasha Banks and Bayley, and basically, it's gonna be a tag team match at Payback. Jax and Shayna versus Sasha and Bayley, which actually feels like a big match. And I actually can see Sasha and Bayley losing the championships. I feel like that's very possible. So we got the Kevin Owens show, and you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Aleister Black. I feel like he's okay, but the gimmick is, as animated as it is, it's pretty generic in my opinion. So I kinda get where Vince McMahon is coming from. Anyway, the special guest was Aleister Black. And, Kevin Owens talked about Seth Rollins, why Aleister Black has this eye badge. And they showed some footage of Seth Rollins attacking Aleister Black. And Kevin Owens is basically talking about Seth Rollins, how he gets into your head. But then, all of a sudden, Aleister Black attacked Kevin Owens. So he turned heel, and I'm actually interested in this. I feel like Aleister Black should have been a heel a very long time ago. They really, in my opinion, ruined the character by having Aleister Black helping people, with Humberto. Really? Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo helping people together? Like, that's not his gimmick. So anyway, I'm finally interested in what Aleister Black is all about. And Kevin Owens finally has a rivalry. We got a fatal 4-way match for the 24/7 championship. Truth versus Tozawa versus Alexander versus Benjamin. The champion was Shelton Benjamin, in case you didn't know, and he lost the championship when Akira Tozawa pinned R-Truth. Randy Orton feels like it's humiliating that Drew McIntyre actually offered him the WWE Championship match, so that's why he kicked him in the head. We got Keith Lee, and many of you guys know Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre are friends, so he's basically trying to fight Drew McIntyre's battles. He challenges Randy Orton to a match, and Randy Orton said, maybe. We got Angel Garza versus Montez Ford, so that was an alright match, even though I cannot stand this rivalry. We got Ivar, and he took the girl, and I don't blame her. That looks tasty. And Montez Ford won the match. We got the Iconics and Zelina Vega versus Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Bianca Belair, in which Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Ruby Riott won. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander are having an arm wrestling contest backstage. MVP feels like it's stupid. Why are you wasting your time, Cedric Alexander? And I mean, I'm pretty sure at one point Cedric is gonna join them. It's just a matter of time, and it would be great for his career, because right now, Ricochet, Cedric, Ali, even Aleister, Humberto, they feel so unimportant, so generic. And that's one of the main reasons why I cannot stand Monday Night Raw. Except for a few rivalries, like I've said. Natalya and Lana are mocking Mickie James. Here are the highlights of Mickie James' career, and it's just a black screen. And that was Lana. That was Lana making that joke. Let me remind you, it was Lana making that joke. Okay. Anyway, we got Mickie James, kick to the head, and Mickie James stands tall, whatever. This is a horrible storyline. Raw Underground is still a thing, and we got Bobby Lashley battling Dolph Ziggler, who's actually the MVP of Raw Battleground, but he lost against Bobby Lashley. I mean, I still don't like it. This felt like the biggest match yet, so I appreciate that, but to me, it's just not entertaining. And look, people, I love wrestling right now. I'm so into it before SummerSlam, actually. This whole Thunderdome thing got me into wrestling again. But this, I'm just being honest, this sucks. We got Keith Lee versus Randy Orton, a big match. I was very excited about it. But what have they done to Keith Lee's attire? It looks horrible. I cannot take him seriously right now. They even changed his theme song, which sounds more generic. Why would you do that? Like, why? Anyway, we got the match, and Keith Lee was shown as this strong dude, and I don't think he was buried. A lot of people saying, okay, he's already buried. That was the limit of Limitless. Come on, dude. The match ended in disqualification when Drew McIntyre pulls Randy Orton out of the ring, and we got this brawl. Drew McIntyre says that Keith Lee doesn't need to fight his battles, and we got Randy Orton attacking Drew McIntyre again, and we got the third punt. So, instead of Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, we're getting Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. Not as exciting, if I'm being honest, but still pretty decent. I'm sure we're gonna get Drew McIntyre interfering. We got the Lumberjack Raw Women's title rematch, Sasha Banks versus Asuka, in which Bayley accidentally kinda costs Sasha the championship, so Asuka retained the title. We got more Raw Underground, Bobby Lashley fighting Cedric Alexander, and like I've said, I just simply don't care. And we got a pretty fun main event, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. Before the match, we got them attacking Rey Mysterio, so it was only Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Murphy at first, but then Rey Mysterio got back, and it was a very fun match. We got a double 619, which was awesome to see. However, we didn't get the ending because we got Retribution, and it seems like they're bigger now. Like I've said, we don't know who the actual leaders of this group are. So WWE are basically using different people each week, but this time I wouldn't be surprised if these are the actual members. A lot of people are speculating that these wrestlers are basically from NXT. Chelsea Green, Dio Madden, Dominic Dijakovic, Shane Thorne, Mia Yim, and Kaden Carter. Honestly, I feel like That's very possible, especially when you look at this guy. It really looks like Dominik Dijakovic. It's a bit underwhelming in my opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean that these people are the leaders. Maybe these are the actual people. Let's say the members are revealed. It still doesn't mean that the leader was actually shown. Maybe the leader is Roman Reigns, maybe it's CM Punk. And let's be honest, if it's not Roman Reigns or CM Punk, it's kinda disappointing. Some people will say The Miz, but I feel like WWE are only doing it to make you feel like it's The Miz. It does look like an okay faction if these are the actual members, but it needs a leader, it needs a top star to be a leader, a known name. So thank you for watching The Great One. Peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.